If you're watching this video when it released, then I hope you're having a very Merry Christmas. I thought for this video, or rather series of videos, I'd take a look at the European Car of the Year winners over the past 61 years. I'm going to cover one decade every day over the next 7 days, ending on New Year's Eve. So if you're bored of the Christmas telly already, then here's something different to watch whilst you're eating your turkey leftovers. At the end, I'm going to take a look at how accurate the judges were at picking the winners and the losers. The European Car of the Year award was created in 1964 by a group of European car magazines. It became quite a coveted award for car companies as they believed it could help sell more cars to customers, so the result of the awards are always hotly anticipated. The winners are judged not only on being a great all-round car, but also being technically innovative and good value for money. This should make for a car that the public should love, but just how accurate have these motor journalists been at predicting future successes? How many winners and how many duds were there? Let's find out. Let's kick off with the first award way back in 1964. The winner was a radical new car for Rover after the fairly staid Rover P5, which was owned by every bank manager. The new P6 had a very different shape, styled by David Bache, who'd go on to create the Range Rover, the Rover SD1, another Car of the Year winner, and he also had a hand in the Austin Mini Metro. The P6 went toe-to-toe with the Triumph 2000 and were the cars to get for the well-to-do 1960s middle manager. Both cars sold well. The Rover P6 sold 322,000 cars, which was good for a large car in the 1960s and 70s. It ended up being sold for far too long though, 14 years due to British Leyland's financial problems. The P6 was a good pick, but the following year it seems the judges were hoodwinked by the myth of Alec Izagonis, as the winner was BMC's unloved Austin Morris 1800. It's easy to see why they thought it would be a success. The Mini had been popular, as had the Austin 1100 that followed it. This was the next in that lineage, but customers didn't warm to what they dubbed the land crab. It was too wide, it had heavy steering, and it wasn't that exciting inside. Early examples burned oil as the dipstick marks were in the wrong place. It stumbled along until 1975 when it was replaced by the Princess. Britain had won the first two awards, but in 1966 France won with the Renault 16. This was a new and innovative car. It was front-wheel drive, something pretty rare for the 1960s, let alone for a large car. It was one of the first hatchbacks with a clever reconfigurable back seat that turned a family car into a cargo carrier. This was all great stuff for 1966, and the Renault 16 was very popular. Renault sold 1.8 million cars in a 15-year production run. The 1967 Fiat 124 was a shape I drew when I wanted to draw a stereotypical car when I was a kid. It was the classic 3-box saloon. But this was a rugged, modern car with good interior space that was just what customers wanted. It might have only been produced by Fiat for 8 years and it sold over 1.5 million cars in the process, but it would have a much longer life outside of Europe. Production started in the Soviet Union and the car would eventually be re-imported into the West, where it would be known by many names, including the Lada Riva in the UK. Once people in the West grew tired of these cars in the early 1990s, many were imported back into Russia. Versions of the Fiat 124 would continue to be produced for another 40 years after Fiat production ended, with the last car rolling off the production line in Egypt. Germany got its first winner in 1968 with the NSU R080. Like the Renault 16, this was another highly innovative car. It was front-wheel drive with a new modern shape. There were disc brakes all round. There was an automatic clutch which was allied to a new type of motor, the Wankel rotary engine, a power plant that was much smaller than conventional engines. What the Car of the Year jury didn't know though was that the Wankel engine wouldn't live up to the hype. NSU couldn't make it reliable, which rendered the R080 next to useless. The whole car had been built around this engine. In the end, only 37,000 cars were ever produced. NSU was bought by Volkswagen, who took the best parts of the company to create front-wheel drive cars in the 1970s, as well as highly competitive Audis. Another larger car won in 1969, Peugeot's new 504. This was a French car but styled by the Italian company Pininfarina. The Car of the Year judges loved the styling, the quality, handling and powerful engine. It wasn't just a four-door saloon as well, it was also a two-door coupe as well as a convertible. It was semi-luxurious and did well in Europe, but the long suspension travel was useful in countries such as Kenya, where it was produced until 2006. It's also been converted into a pickup. Over its life, over 3 million of these cars were produced, making it a worthy winner. Okay, that's it for the 1960s. There's a link to the 1970s video on the right if I've already released it, but if not, thanks for watching and I'll see you tomorrow.